webinar is designed to guide and help teachers to smoothly transition from face-to-face teaching to online teaching. So I'm Pankaj Chavan. I'm a research fellow in the Department of Educational Technology at IIT Bombay, and I'll be the presenter. And along with me today, we have Dr. Kapil Kadam. So he will be the moderator. So on 27th March, UNESCO held its second COVID-19 education response webinar, and they dedicated this webinar to some 63 million affected teachers in 165 countries. And the director of UNESCO Institute for Capacity Building in Africa, Yumiko Yakazaki, he actually chaired the webinar, and in that webinar, she basically framed an entirely new context in a positive light in such a situation. So we all are going through this situation of COVID-19. It's a pandemic going on, and most of the things are happening which we are not very comfortable with. So in such a situation too, she basically framed an entirely new context. And she said that as necessity is the mother of invention, this situation may become an opportunity for teachers as well as learners to become more empowered, creative, and innovative. So the point is, though we are finding it forceful to move to online teaching, but it is the necessity of the hour, and we have to do that. So as a part of that, in the process, this situation will help us, and it will provide us with a lot of opportunities, both for teachers as well as learners, to become more empowered, creative, and innovative. So I'm also holding the similar thought, and the whole presentation is on the similar path. Basically, first thing that we have to do is we should acknowledge the current challenging situation. So this is an extraordinary situation. So first thing that we have to do is be kind to yourself as well as your students. So it's not the same face-to-face classroom teaching environment. It's entirely a different context. So please try to be kind to yourself as well as your students. And this unexpected situation has forced us to move to online teaching. Okay. So now few specific pointers that we should keep in mind is, so the first one is, don't focus on recreating your face-to-face classroom in online environment. So what I mean by this is, so you don't try to recreate your whole classroom which you used to have in face-to-face setting in online. So that is the first and foremost thing you have to keep in mind. Along with that, when you identify this particular aspect, you have to focus on what according to you is crucial for students to learn. Okay. So this is very important to understand. So focusing on what you think which is essential for students to learn. Then the second, the third point is related with considering the things piecewise. So don't try to plan whole thing at the same time. Consider it either weekly or on a daily basis. And at a time, you just look at what will happen over a week or what will happen over 2 days or something of that sort. And the third and foremost important thing is, as compared to face-to-face teaching, teaching online is way more a laborious job. So you have to put a lot of efforts, and a lot of efforts will go into designing your course, then delivering it, then assessing students, and a lot of things are involved in that. So it's not that easier. So to just give you the summary of the webinar, the overview of what we'll be talking about. So we are using Google Meet. So basically I'm sharing my screen. I'm sharing the PowerPoint slides, and we will be doing some activities during this webinar. And for that, I'll be using some websites, and we will be visiting over a period of time to the websites during the activities. During this webinar, you might come across with different questions. So whenever you come up with a question, post it in the chat box. So instead of saying something in between, you can post it over that. And at the end of the webinar, I'll handle those questions. This session is recorded. And what are the session goals of this webinar? So three things we'll be looking at specifically. First thing is related with the teaching aspects, like how to deliver content online. Second is related with interaction or communication aspect, where we will be looking at how to effectively interact with students in online environment. And third aspect is related with assessment, which is nothing but how we are going to assess students in such an environment. So even though these are three different goals or three different questions in a way, but this together will help you to answer the question, how to teach online effectively. Okay. And to talk about the scope of this webinar, so this webinar is general. I'll give a very broad overview of what, how, and when. So I'll not be going into the specifics of tools and most of the things. Okay. And whenever you see this colored slide, it means that we are doing some activity. So please be attentive and participate in the activities. Okay. So what to expect and not to expect from this webinar, because it is very important to make it clear at the first part itself, like what I'm delivering and what you can expect from this. Okay. So what you can expect is, so you'll get a detailed overview of essential aspects of online teaching. You'll also get a brief ideas about strategies and techniques to effectively move from face-to-face to online. And I'll be also talking about some tools and technologies which will assist or help in sustaining the different essential components of online teaching. And what not to expect, which is the most important part, is detailed how-to of all different tools and technologies. So you'll get a lot of YouTube videos on how to use X, how to use Y. So this detailed things I'll not be going into. What I'll be looking at more is integration of pedagogy and technology. So what instructional strategy, which tool goes along with that and how to use that. So technical know-hows, I'll not be going into that much details. Then what you cannot expect, second thing is, it is not a prescription for effective online teaching. It's not something like, okay, do this, and you are very effective online teacher. So there are different approaches I'll be presenting, and you need to identify which works better for you. So same prescription will not work in the same way for each and every teacher, because the needs of students and teachers are different in different contexts. So make sure that you don't take this as a prescription. Then you try to innovate, ideate, and think about what will work in your context, what will not work, and accordingly then go ahead.